Arthur Streeton is arguably the greatest landscape painter of the late 19th and 20th century in Australia. He came to this position in tandem with other painters, Charles Condor and Tom Roberts, as they forged their own path towards what we know now as Australian Impressionism or Australian Naturalism. 1889 might be seen as a crucible year for all of these painters. The local Impressionists, so-called, owed a debt to the French Barbizon school, but they were doing it on their own terms and in local territory, making impressions and pursuing ideas about finish and unfinish, and working at different scales. 20 years later, in 1923, Arthur Streeton returns to Australia and to Olinda in the Dandenongs, where he settles most permanently or more permanently by 1930. It becomes for Streeton a genius loci, that is to say, the place in which he was inspired to make a group of paintings that spoke about the landscape and how he might want to paint that landscape, but also about his overriding concerns about conservation. And yes, Streeton was a committed conservationist by this time, and he even talked in his own lifetime that in his afterlife perhaps he would come back to haunt anyone who might have chopped down his beautiful blackwoods. Our Pale Blue and Gold is a very interesting picture. It was painted in 1933 and exhibited that year in Streeton's retrospective at the Athenaeum Club. It was bought by Alfred Bardsley and has remained in his family's collection ever since. What we see in the painting is what we also see in other paintings from this period. In the foreground and in shadow, we have a very quickly dashed in sort of slash of logs and debris. It's a sort of frieze or a punctuation beyond which the pale blue and gold of the beautiful scene unfolds. Streeton does this rather carefully and cleverly, painting outdoors at some speed, of course, but he quickly notates not only the detail, but arranges the composition, blocks of colour that traverse the landscape diagonally from left to right and right to left. This is also aided in compositional terms by the white saplings which Streeton places, discreetly and very cleverly to take your eye through the composition, down through the valley into where the beautiful blue water is and the sky and the hills beyond. It is a painting I would heartily recommend to you. And as I've said, it's fresh to market. It's been in that same family since the 30s. And here it is, it's coming forward in our sale.